Are you struggling with quality of life issues? Then this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Hindi. I'm a senior dog care consultant, and certified pet loss bereavement specialist, and I'm the creator of Gray Paws and All. In today's video, I wanted to talk about quality of life because I know, sorry, I'm outside in the park. Um, I know it's a topic that many senior dog parents struggle with. Um, I've been there. I've struggled with that issue many times. I want to start off with a quote that I heard a vet say many years ago. I've never forgotten it because I think that it's one of the most helpful things I've ever heard. And he said, just because there's something that can be done doesn't mean it's morally or ethically right to do it. And like I said, I don't think I've heard anything more helpful than that. Now, let's back up for a minute. I know when it comes to quality of life, like many people, first of all, many people say, when it's time, your dog will let you know. I've never had that happen. People have argued with me about it. You know what? If I'm sure that they believe that happened in their case, that's fine. I've never had that happen. And I do not recommend you just wait and see until your dog gives you some kind of sign. I don't know what that means. A lot of people say they know. That's, again, great. But that can also lead to a lot of suffering if you're just going to wait for them to, kind of give you that look. So please don't do that. Another thing I'm going to say is many people will also post, like in my group, for instance, my Senior Dog Care Club Facebook group for senior dog parents. They will also well, my dog is eating, so he's fine. Again, by itself, that's not a good enough quality of life indicator because many dogs will eat until the last moment. So if your dog is eating, it doesn't mean that he's fine. It doesn't mean he's not fine, but just don't only use that as an indicator. So how can you tell? It's a tough one because there are I've seen many posts from people who say my dog is deaf, they're blind, they can't really walk, but they're still wagging their tail and still eating. Is that a quality of life? What I do, okay, in all my cases, most of my when I've had to say goodbye, most of my decisions were based on a bad test result. They've mostly had kidney failure, and they were always monitored, of course, very closely by the vet. And there would be a point where we would have one of the blood tests come back, and it would be very bad. And they weren't eating very much, and I made my decision based on that because that wasn't fair to them. I've had other situations where the decision was not that easy because quality of life when you're just judging without a bad test result is a lot more difficult. But what I find helps me a lot when it's making those decisions, it's trying to step back for a moment, which of course is very difficult because we're so emotional and we're so involved, and we love them so much. But I step back and I think, is this the life my dog would want? And believe it or not, I have found that very helpful because the most important thing is you are not keeping them. You have the reason that helps is because it takes you out of the equation. So we never want to let go. But if we think about what they would want, because it's not about us, and I know many keep their dogs longer than they should. Again, that's like there's no cut and dry really, but they keep them around and then they regret it. They think about it later and they realize, you know what, I kept them around for me. So try and think what's best for them. It's going to hurt. It is going to hurt today or it's going to hurt tomorrow. It is devastating. It's heartbreaking. It's a horrible, horrible thing to have to pick up that phone and make that call. But I guess I am able to separate myself from that as much as I always say I can't imagine living my life without, you know, this dog. It's never about me. It's only ever about what's right for them. Of course, I have a fantastic vet. Unfortunately, I didn't always, and I've had some horrible experiences. But for many years, I've had an excellent vet. And, you know, one of the questions I ask, as probably most of you do, I ask him, what would he do in this situation? And I very much value that advice that I get from him. There are I'm going to put a link in the description to posts that I've written about this topic, because there are um, I have lists of like specific things you can look at to judge, which you'll find helpful. You can also find, and again, there'll be links to that, quality of life scale. So that you can find on the Lap of Love website under, I think it's under resources, or it will be included in the links in one of my posts. But it helps you to write down, it lists different like activities and socializing and all that sort of thing. And it helps you when you write it down and you can see clearly, oh yeah, my dog used to do this, but he's not doing this anymore. Another thing that people have used is just take a regular calendar and, depending on your dog's condition, once a day or twice a day, write down if it was a good day or a good morning or a bad day. And when you look back, even on a week, you'll see, are there more good days than bad days, or vice versa? And that will help you make a decision. What makes, except like a bad blood test, like I mentioned, quality of life is so difficult, because many times we could have let them go a week earlier, or you know, can we wait another day, because we just don't know. When it's an emergency and your vet's in the hospital, yes, of course the decision is very clear cut. But so much of the time, it's just this slow progression towards that final day. And you know, we all want to know, what is the exact right day? And there is no answer. I can tell you what's a bad day is when they're really suffering and they're crying, and they're ending, you know, you're rushing them to the emergency room. That's too late. There is that I want to say cliche. It's, you know, people say better a day early than a day late, or better a week early than a week late. It's true. It's very true. So the one thing I could say is, remember that quote from the beginning of the video. Just because there's something that can be done doesn't mean it's morally or ethically right to do it. Yes, they may suggest all kinds of different treatments. Will it make a difference? What will be the impact on your dog? Will they suffer more because of it? You need to think about that. And also, please try and think, if only for a moment, is this the dog is this the life my dog would would want? I find it also helpful when I read other people's posts, and I think, if you were okay, let's say I didn't write that, if someone else wrote that, what would my advice be? So if you write it all out, or even think about it, but think about it as though someone was telling you this about their dog, what advice would you give? Because that helps remove us from this situation a little bit and get a little bit of a better perspective. Anyway, sorry if I was rambling, but it's such an important topic. It's so difficult. So sharing helps others. So in the comments below, let me know, have you experienced this before? What helped you make that decision? And if you're going through it right now, join my Facebook group. There'll be a link to it, because you'll find others in similar situations that can offer you support and a shoulder. And have you done anything to help you make that decision? Have you spoken to your vet? What kind of support have you gotten? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, because I'm out with new videos all the time. And I will see you in the next one. Have a lovely day.